Okay, YouTubers, this is the Angry Prepper. So today's episode, we're going to talk about acceptable losses. Now, in my last video, we talked about prepping's not a guarantee, right? There's no guarantees in prepping. So this video is going to elaborate on what I mentioned about acceptable losses. Now, again, there are things in your homes, guys, when you're prepping. If there's a fire in your apartment, if your home gets flooded out or lifted off its foundation and shipped down the river, or whatever flood takes your home, or tornado ravages your neighborhood and hits your home and destroys it completely, right? Everything in that house, everything in that home, apartment, whatever it is an acceptable loss. Those are things that you can do without. Now, when talking about prepping, the same rule applies, guys. If there is a bad disaster or situation unfolding and you can't take everything with you because you can't, that's an acceptable loss. You have to go into the mindset already with everything I prepped for, everything I gathered is up for being lost, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't want to sit there and take stock in your stuff and be like, yes, I got all of this, I'm good to go. And then a fire happens or a hurricane or something bad happens, and now you're like, shit, what do I do next? And then again, like I said in my last video, you cry into a pillow or you give up or whatever it is. That's not on the table, giving up, right? You have to keep moving forward. The continuity of the human race is us moving forward through whatever happens. Now, acceptable losses, it's unavoidable. At some point in time, you're going to lose something, right? And now when it comes to prepping, when we're talking about prepping, you could lose it, and you have to know that in the back of your head that it's unavoidable. Something can happen and it could be lost, and you just have to get over it. It's just as simple as that, especially during a shit hits the fan scenario. You might be like, fuck, what are we going to do now? That's what I said in my last video. You better have a backup plan. You better be able to roll with this shit and not sit there and give up and cry. Again, it is not on the table. There are things that are not acceptable. Your life is not an acceptable loss. Your family, your friends, not acceptable losses, right? Your gear is. Your bug out bag, if you're bugging out, is not an acceptable loss unless, listen carefully, unless you have outdoor skills, survival skills, urban skills, your bag is not an acceptable loss. If you don't have any of those skills, you cannot afford to lose your bug out bag, right? But if you have those skills and you lose your bug out bag, it'll be harder, but you'll get through and you'll get to your point B or C or wherever the hell you're going. So when you're prepping, like I did when I first started, don't put your heart and soul into your home preps. Get what you need, get what's going to get you by, but don't put your heart and soul in it, and don't be so reliable on it just in case it gets lost, like I said before. Now, like I said before, if a disaster happens, you might have to leave this shit behind. Now, so if you have, again, a fire that's rapidly moving through your apartment or your home, it's gone. You're not going to sit there and fight it. You're not a one-man, fire team, right? So you have to leave it behind. Now, there are safeguards that you can put in place, fire extinguishers and things like that for fires. But you might live in flood country, which if you live in flood country, you shouldn't. That's a different story. It's probably sort of as bad as me living here in the city, except for floods happen every year or just about every year, and you shouldn't live in an area where you're going to get flooded, sometime during your life living there. But nonetheless, if you live in flood country, that's an acceptable loss. If you can't live anywhere else and that's where you live, just know that your supplies might get lost, or you come up with a backup plan for your supplies. You put it in the attic. Now, you can transport some of your preps if you have a vehicle. If you have a big vehicle, I might add, if you have an SUV or a big SUV, or you have access to a truck, yes, you can move a lot of your shit. But how fast can you get all your shit out of your home, into your truck, to another location? It's going to take you a couple of hours. So you better hope that incident or that situation that's coming to you is going to take a couple of hours. Now, if it's your home, it's going to take you a day or two. So again, take what you can and leave. You can't take it all with you. And so that you make that, if you have that option, make sure you have a list of shit that needs to go. So if you have the evac, prep supply, you better know which section needs to go immediately into your truck, and then you go. And you're not sitting there going, oh shit, man, where the hell's the comms radio? Where's the ham, this and that, and where's the turkey and the spam? Know where it all is, and that's the shit that goes with you, and everything else stays behind. Obviously, water, that goes with you. That goes without saying. But then everything else that you want to go, make sure you have it in one central location and not all over the fucking house when you're trying to evac your home preps. So that's pretty much it for acceptable losses, guys. I hope that that makes sense, because again, it's a son of a bitch when you lose something, right? Today, people lose their phones and they lose their fucking minds. I lost my phone a couple months ago, and guess what happened? I lost it. I was like, shit, fuck, piss, but it was gone. That was it, right? I didn't throw a tantrum. I didn't like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I went and bought another phone. And if I didn't have money for another phone, I had a backup phone, my old iPhone that I was gonna use. So I had a backup plan. So again, guys, a backup plan for acceptable losses are paramount, because you're going to need it, and not that you're going to need it, you hope you're never going to need it. Let me say it that way. It's better to have that backup plan than it is to not. And then when the shit crumbles, you're like, fuck, what am I gonna do? Like I said before, have a backup plan with everything you do when it comes to prepping. Everything. All right, guys, so this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching. You can like, subscribe to this channel. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter. And my podcast is back up and running. I just released an update episode today, and I'll start pushing more episodes throughout the week. All right, guys, thank you for watching.